Greetings. My name is Dr. Waddell Brooks, Sr., your host, and this is Community Focus. Ladies and gentlemen, we have an exemplary person this morning. She is a person that you should know, Dr. Carla Little, Ph.D. She's a member of the Woodland School District number 50 Board of Education since 1999. She's employed by the Illinois Department of Public Health since 2004, and she's going to tell us a little bit about herself. I met her a few weeks ago, and I felt that she is a person that you should know. Good morning, Dr. Little.
Good morning, Dr. Brooks.
We're very happy that, literally, that you're taking time from your busy schedule to be with us on Community Focus here at the radio station. Lake County is approximately 750,000 people, but I don't know how many up at 5 o'clock this Sunday morning listening to the program, but I understand we had a pretty good audience up. As a matter of fact, I had a prior mayor told me that on Sunday mornings he's listened to Community Focus while he's shaving, getting ready for Sunday school, so that's the audience that we have on Sundays, so we're happy. But I meet people from time to time. It's very fortunate that we had a chance to meet, and after listening to you, I think it was a Haitian dinner that we were at, and I say, you are a person that Lake County should know. All right. Well, tell us a little bit about your personal and professional background.
Okay. Well, my name is Carla Little. I'm originally from Indianapolis, Indiana. We moved to Lake County in the late 90s, 1998. My husband actually coached with the Chicago Bears. That's what brought us to the area, and we did a lot of research, and we chose Woodland School District to raise the kids. Okay. At that point, we had two daughters, one that was in first grade, and then one that would be starting kindergarten, and then we went on to have two more babies. When we moved to Lake County in 1998, one born in 98, the other born in 97. I joined the Woodland School District Board of Education as an opportunity to give back to the community. After the kids got old enough, I went to work for the Illinois Department of Public Health as a laboratory research scientist, working in the virology and emergent infections lab, and then moved on to the Office of Preparedness and Response in 2007. And in the Illinois Department of Public Health Office of Preparedness and Response, we handle all public health and medical emergencies for the state of Illinois. And I lead on a daily basis medical countermeasures planning for the state, which means that anytime you need mass vaccinations involving pandemic influenza, if you need mass antibiotic dispensing for any type of biothreat agents such as an anthrax attack, if we need personal protective equipment such as gloves, gowns, masks, field medical stations. I lead the planning for all of that on behalf of the citizens of Illinois and the Illinois Department of Public Health.
Tell us, I know here, I live in North Chicago, and our school district is probably not the type of school district that you have in Woodland. And I also was raised in East St. Louis, Illinois, and East St. Louis and North Chicago are vying for last place as far as student achievement is concerned. But tell us about Woodland. What makes Woodland special that some things that we should be doing in North Chicago to come up to that level?
Well, I think that's kind of a loaded question in a way because I'm sure that the administrators and the teachers and all the support staff in North Chicago are working really hard to ensure that those students are learning on a daily basis and that they're producing students that are ready to compete in the national and global economies. I haven't visited North Chicago school districts in a while, but I'm fairly certain that that's the case. I think that a lot of times what makes schools stand out a lot is the parent participation.
Okay.
I think that's because these kids are coming ready to learn. Their parents are heavily involved in the schools. You're talking socioeconomic differences, and in some cases, for instance, the summer, if you're a parent of a certain financial means, when your kids are off for the summer, you can take them to the libraries, to the zoos, travel overseas, travel across the country. So they're getting that additional education that helps them prepare and broadens their vocabulary. It broadens so much of the way kids learn, and I think that's a lot of times where you see difference in learning. What I will say that is great about the Woodland School District is we have a very diverse student body.
Oh.
And we do have a high level of parent participation, which is great. That's wonderful. And we do really work hard to ensure that our kids are learning on a daily basis.
Ladies and gentlemen, again, we're talking with Carla Little, Ph.D., member of the Woodland School District number 50, Board of Education, since 1999, and now she's employed by the Illinois Department of Public Health. Matter of fact, that's been since 2004. Dr. Little, that was a loaded question, and I knew that you could handle it, being in the position that you are, and you responded very well. Now, I'd like to lead to another area. Now, you mentioned you're in the, public health, in the health field. I sponsor a public forums periodically, about 2 or 3 times a year, about health disparities among minorities. That may be a little, you're in public health, but do you feel that there are disparities among minorities in the health field?
In terms of outcomes, is that what you mean?
Well, health itself, a treatment.
Treatment.
And so forth. In other words, I have a doctor, a Mason. She's with the, I don't know if you know her or not. She's a podiatrist with the VA. VA. Well, not the VA, but the institution south of the VA.
Right.
Not James A. Lovell, the South. But anyway, I'll think of it. When you get old like I am, 3 things get away from you. The first thing to go is the memory. I don't remember the other 2. Oh, man. Well, by the way, she's a podiatrist there, and she said there were disparities among men. I think one of the reasons is because they don't take care of the feet.
Right.
That's one of the reasons. And I think she said it was in the DNA or something. The feet are the treatment. The treatment is different.
Yeah, I can't speak to that because I'm a virologist by training, so
Okay.
I wouldn't want to speak to an area of science that I really haven't had the time to invest in
Yes.
doing the research on. I think just in general conversation, what we understand is there are disparities in healthy outcomes for minorities overall, and it has to do a lot of times with socioeconomic factors.
Okay,
it has
yes.
to do with some system, some institutionalized racism that's unfortunately embedded into many systems in the United States, including the medical system. It has to do with prioritizing us as individuals, prioritizing our day-to-day survival over health. You think about, I was listening to a different radio program on NPR on the way to work, and they were talking about, just the number of people that have the ability to take off work to go to the doctor.
Yes.
That all impacts, the healthy outcome. So it's definitely something we should be concerned about. There is an area of science, biology now, epigenetics, where they talk about how certain proteins are turned on as a result of the environment, stress, they think that's contributing to things like high blood pressure and cancer and, other, heart disease, things that disproportionately affect African Americans and people of low socioeconomic incomes, other minorities, Hispanics, because we tend to live in a more stressful environment than others that have better financial means than we do, or less racism, less stress. We deal with, as a minority in this country, we deal with a lot of stress. So that does affect our health.
That brings me to another leading question that we had talked about, and that's racism. Now, I don't believe the average person, black or white, African American, Caucasian, or other Latinos, know exactly what racism is. And because if we make a study, we find out there was no racism until the slaves were brought to this country. This was when racism was identified or started. And you may comment on that. Was it a political thing that we have racism? Because I tell everybody, I didn't have anything to do with the color of my skin, like you didn't have anything to do with the color of your skin.
Right.
When the doctor patted you and you behind and you started screaming, then you knew you was in the world. So why should dark-skinned people be treated different from light-skinned people? Is this true that from your study, the data that you got, that racism didn't start until, African Americans got to this country?
Yeah, I'm a virologist. I have to always say that.
Okay.
Not an anthropologist or a sociologist or social scientist, but, just from my understanding and just trying to, because you're right, I do, like you, as an African American, try to make sense of racism because, you experience it on an almost daily basis. But it appears that racism, is kind of, unfortunately, appears to have did take root in America during the periods of slavery. It was a means of, like you said, socioeconomic, political, in terms of keeping Africans as slaves. So the goal was to make them less than, or portray them as less than, right? So that then that would justify their bondage.
But I have never seen a Brinks truck behind a hearse yet.
Right.
So we may take it to the grave, but we're going to leave it there. 1712, Willie Lynch stated that if you would, he told the slave owners, don't kill your slaves, don't beat them, because the slaves were not used to this type of treatment. They sons and daughters of kings and queens in Africa, and they weren't used to this type of treatment. He said, if you kill them, you won't have anybody to work for you. Here's a procedure. If you use this on them intensively for 1 year, you will have them under control perpetually. Right. Now, we don't have time to go into the dastardly things that they did to human beings. And that's the reason I say the average person don't understand, what the racism is. And that is still, it has an effect today from what Willie Lynch told his slave owners. This was some racism is something I've been trying to figure out. I go to church, my family in church, we study the Bible, and it's the same Bible that everybody studied, It tells you how to treat people. you love, you know, thou shalt not kill, and thou shalt not this, and thou shalt not do that. But if it's not, I boiled it down to being political.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I can't think of anything else. Even young children, they will play and they will, you know, love each other until the parents get involved, and the parents deter them, say they are better than other people.
Right.
There's no such thing as one person being better than other people, right? So that's we try to. I'm trying to get to the core of racism, and that's, maybe you have another understanding of it.
Well, I definitely agree with you. You know, I've experienced, you know, growing up,
Yeah.
Colored, Negro,
Oh, yeah.
Black, and then African American in, in the United States, and specifically in Indianapolis. There were always, I've always experienced some level of racism. Growing up, it was more of indifference, I think. But then since I moved to Illinois and been involved with the Department of Public Health, I mean, I've seen aggressive, racism. Like, I feel like I'm in the South in, Mississippi.
With the Illinois Department of Public Health?
With the Illinois Department of Public Health. I feel like I'm back in the 50s of Mississippi, things I read about. I feel like at this point, and it may sound like hyperbole, but I feel like at this point, if these people could take me outside and, rape me butt naked and lynch me, I think they would. I mean, I've just experienced
that sounds like Willie
so
Lynch.
much.
Right. What happened then, really?
Right. It's so much
1712.
hatred. I experience so much hatred. It's shocking. I think racism in some, it takes the form of bullying. It takes the form of harassment. All you have to do is, have a dominant person and people that follow that person, or just even two people that agree that they're going to discriminate against you. But it just takes the one dominant person, I have found, to direct all the other people to behave badly. And that's what I found working with the Department of Public Health.
Harassing behavior is, I don't understand what is there to gain from harassing people on the job.
It's power.
Okay.
I think a lot of it is power. A lot of it is they feel like they can, because they're in positions where they can harass you. These are supervisors. These are, chiefs of staff, directors. They have all the power, so they can harass you. And then also, I think it's a way to get African Americans out of the Department of Public Health. If you're at a certain level of education and a certain position, they tend to harass those people more than they harass other people.
Is there a threat for their jobs, you think?
I don't think it's a threat for their job. I think it's just that they want the job for somebody else. There's a lot of, cronyism and nepotism, unfortunately, in state government, and they are looking to give those jobs to somebody else.
Well, I understand that.
Unblack. That's not black.
Yeah, the unions is a perfect example there. Family and so forth. And I know of a certain union. There's one African American in that area that he's in. One, and he thought it was exceptional, but he just learned to adjust to it and live with it. And then he found out because he's light hue. Now there's also racism of color skin too.
Oh yeah.
You notice that the light color and they call, I say they, but this slave owner or supervisor, whatever, they cause the different in colors because the light skin color person would get the job. And it just between recent years where you see newscasters, they you never see a dark skinned newscaster, but now they all different colors now.
Well, like you say, that whole Willie Lynch syndrome, where they've taught us as African Americans. So not only did they teach white people how to treat us poorly, they taught us as African Americans how to treat ourselves poorly.
Yes.
And then we, unfortunately, would turn on each other and pretend that the color of skin had a value,
Okay.
and it's a value, it's a value that we've placed on it, maybe out of favor to sit on the master's porch or work in the master's kitchen or whatever those values were. But we use those against each other now. And, that doesn't add to the cohesiveness of our own culture, our own culture, our own people. Even though I believe as Americans, we're all one people.
Well, we are.
Even though
in
people want to, in the
sight
sight of God, but, people do want to put us into box.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate.
Amazing. One last question on this area, because we could go on this forever and we need more time. We only have, 30 minutes for this segment, but the next segment would be the television program where we have 1 hour, and that's a token of the time. And I'll probably have a co-host with me on that segment, because there's so much area to cover. But here's one that's extremely interesting here. Male versus female. We find out that there's a decrease in the number of male administrators, not only in the state of Illinois, but I guess nationwide. And why would they? Because the male is a provider for the family, and he cannot provide for his family if there's a decrease in population among the administrator. He's gone and got his degree, or maybe several degrees, and then he's ready. Then he find out he get the position, and then he find out that they're trying to decrease the population.
Yeah, are you speaking specifically to African American?
Yeah, period. I mean,
males?
Just overall.
Yeah.
Because I've seen it in the military.
I know. They're so. You're right. This is not enough time to really unpack these topics, but yeah, I see that a lot. I mean, if you look at the Illinois Department of Public Health and across the state agencies that I work with on a daily basis, you see. I know I can think of only one African American male that's left. They've gotten rid of the others either by, again, harassing them out or them finding another position or firing them.
Yes, in the area that you
when I'm looking around as I'm thinking through who I see at work.
Okay.
If there's if I go into the for instance, the IEMA has an state emergency operations center. If you go into the state emergency operations center, there's no black males in there. Zero. There's no. Sometimes I'm the only black female that shows up when I show up, and because sometimes they don't let me go, so they try to hold me back from going. So yeah, it's you. But you walk into that room and it's completely white.
And we always talk about the importance of providing education, training, and professional development among people. But when they get that professional development, then the racism takes over.
Racism takes over.
This is amazing. Hopefully, by this program will cause people to think and say, wait a minute, we'll take a look at my area, my section, my employment. Are there any African-American administrators there? Has there been an effort to improve the employment of African-Americans? I mention that because I know several agencies where they have African-American male as the human resources director. but nothing changes within the area because his boss is Caucasian.
Doesn't empower him. Right. You see that a lot.
I was in Korea. I'm here over fighting for my country. And I was next in line. Well, I was a chief in my area, next in line for the next promotion, as a prior first class at that time, and I was in line for corporal, little lowly corporal, it's only 2 stripes, this type of thing. And what happened? The person in personnel made because there's only certain numbers that they promoted, 6 months a year, whatever. I've been waiting a year for this promotion, and the little increase in pay was just minimum, and personnel made a person, a male, the white male, a corporal, a 2-striper on a waiver.
On a waiver.
Now, I've been waiting for my time for a year, right? And he made it on a 6-month waiver. So I eventually got it after waiting more time.
Wow.
And I said, well, I'm in Korea now. I want to make it back home. I didn't want to file a case of discrimination there, because how far that would have gotten anyway over there. I can never forget that. That was back in the 50s. I have to tell my age, in 55, he made it on a waiver. Couldn't wait his time.
Wow.
And so I've been in equal employment opportunity ever since. I was the director of housing at Great Lakes as a counselor, and equal employment opportunity was my last 9 years. But I just want to mention that my commanding officer is responsible for equal employment opportunity. I was the deputy, right? And we would have the meetings, department head meetings, every week, Monday or Tuesday. I'm not sure which day it was. But he would tell his department directors, I want you to support Brooks's program. Well, he's the commanding officer. He's the head of equal employment opportunity, right? But now, don't you think they get the message? Department directors get the message, support Brooks's program. If you don't support Brooks's program, then what,
Wow.
So each time I find someone that's other people experience racism and been through this, I always try to get them on a program to let Lake County know that I'm not out there by myself.
Right. And I just think it's a conversation really worth having. I would love to, with especially now with so much racism and hate happening across the nation, I think we should have open conversations and put some of this stuff behind us.
Thank you very much. Like I say, this is not the tip of the iceberg, but we'll have more conversation, a part 2 or part 3. But at least we got a start.
Yeah, thank you.
And we'll get some more dates that you're available, and hope you didn't have any trouble finding the place, right?
No trouble at all.
No trouble. Then I give good directions. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been talking with Carla Little, PhD, a member of Woodland District 50 Board of Education, and she's employed by the Illinois Department of Public Health. And I thought that since she was an exemplary person here, that you should hear a profile on her. And there are many others that we could get, but we can only get one a week. And we're so happy. So thank you very much, Dr. Little. I really, really appreciate this and looking forward to our next conversation. This has been Community Focus. My name is Dr. Waddell Brooks Sr., your host.